11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Oh, okay. So now there's audio. So is that working now? So I've just been fiddling with the idea here of sharing the window, not the whole window, just the application. So we'll see how this works. So this is our weekly 2A wrap up. We're looking at back at the week, March 26th, I guess, and we're looking at the description of the video here, where you can see a whole bunch of stuff that happened this week. Last weekend was the Florida Carry 2A speaker event, so we have some of that to talk about. It was also the Big Sandy machine gun shoot. I didn't really see anything on YouTube about that, but I guess I don't look for that too much anymore. But this weekend, or this week, Dragon Man started posting some interesting stuff, so that's what we're starting the show out with. So if you don't know, the Colorado Military Museum is in Colorado Springs, and it's a private collection. It's run by Dragon Man, really cool dude. And each year, it seems like every year, he always collects more stuff, but he adds to the museum, he grows the size of the museum. So he did a half-an-hour video walking through the new layout and the new acquisitions for this year. So really cool, worth watching. Everything we talk about in this show will have links in the description here. So Dragon Man did a 28, 30-minute video on the new layout and what's in there. So definitely worth checking that out. Now we'll get into our 2A stuff, I guess. Even though I'm scrolling past, I am still seeing the comments. So thanks for showing up and joining in. I can click on stuff. So Makojo was first one here. Good evening. All right, so lots of 2A stuff happened this week, and not just blabbing on about the same old, but interesting new stuff, right? And this is in no particular order. I try to group things, but I don't put them necessarily in priority or anything. Let's see. So I'm not going to get into the details of the atrocity because that's the ambush that we've been set up and we deal with every single time. So the specifics of it is the waste of time. I think I'm coming up with a way to describe it, and it's if someone said, here's an important issue and we're going to solve it with a baseball game, and we're going to have this many baseball games and you're going to have this many baseball players and we're going to use this method to have the outcome, and then that'll determine what's going on. Well, I'm sick of talking about baseball players and statistics and strategies. Let's start challenging who the hell came up with the idea of using a baseball game to settle this situation, right? To settle this disagreement or this conflict or this. It's not really even a disagreement or a conflict. It's just some people are unaware and they're misled by people who are willing to mislead them. And I'm unwilling to participate in the focus on the details of that. So I'm not going to talk about that specifically, but we can focus on the channels that didn't just rush to offer commentary and basically do the same thing that the antis they do, which is capitalize every single time it happens. And you can, by reflex, do exactly what they want you to do, or you could stop that cycle. And this is an attempt to stop that cycle. So besides that, what do we got here? We got what's his face basically as it's happening, doing the knee-jerk reaction, making a video, probably feels obligated to, but still, enough said. We'll move on. The Armed Scholar talked about the number of firearms that were sold in California. I think that was pretty interesting. Talks a little bit about that Mueller Becerra case and then the Duncan Becerra case in this video. Let's see, next up, This Week in Guns. Oh, I was talking into the computer and it didn't come out real good, but that's Guns and Barbecue did his ripoff of the Daily Gun Show twice this week. And you can listen to that. It happens in the evenings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have a link to one of them here. Diana Mueller was on Newsmax earlier this week. Chris Chang testified in front of the DC. So again, going back to this, if everybody you're listening to, everybody you're focusing on, everybody who you're paying attention to is watching the ball bounce back and forth, realize that there's people challenging why they're pitting us against each other. And they're challenging that paradigm. They're changing the way that this whole game is played. So Diana Mueller, I keep saying her name wrong, Diana Mueller, went on Newsmax, some kind of, I don't know what that is, it's a TV show or something. Chris Chang, though, I know what DC is, and I know what testifying before Congress is. This dude kicks ass. So he kicked ass, she kicked ass, and here's a video where they're out with Maj doing stuff in DC together, got in each other's backs and stuff. So I don't know if I talk about it this week because there haven't even been any, but Daily Bullet had Diana on today. Damn, I spelled her name wrong. Look, we're going to go ahead and edit this right now because it's disrespectful to have her name spelled wrong. It's because of the robot. I didn't spell it wrong. Fucking robot. All right. So back to the video. So she was on Newsmax. I don't know what that is. Like somebody will tell us in here. It's probably something important. And some dude, and then she's all right. You know, I got her name spelled wrong again. I could mansplain how she could do it better, but she does pretty good. There. And I'm certainly not going to do it. And I don't see anybody else doing it. So no matter if it's done perfectly or not. And it's not that she didn't do it good. It's just that I have a different approach I would take. I have a different different tactic. But otherwise, she's doing it. And she's kicking ass at it. And I'll shut up because she's doing it. I'm just watching her do it and hopefully encouraging other people to pay attention to her. Can you imagine if Diana Mueller was funded to the capacity of just pick any ass hat you can mention off the top of your head? Like, you don't even want to know. I kind of know how much people are making. I want to have her and her chicks make that kind of money. Because then we'd be done. We wouldn't even be having these bullshit discussions. I could get back to talking about nerd shit that I used to care about. Anyway, let's see. So here's a link to her on that Newsmax TV show or whatever it is. And then I didn't link to Chris because I didn't watch it on YouTube. I watched it on Instagram, and I don't know how to link to that, or I don't bother to link to that. So go watch Chris off of wherever it's at. If somebody's got a link to Chris over here, drop it in here. That'd be cool. Let's see. I have a section in here on Patreon. This is all formatted. YouTube doesn't let us format. Everything you get is either nothing. It's just description. It's just text. Or if you format the text correctly, you can turn it into a URL, but you can't bold or title or do anything to format the font at all. But on Patreon, when I do this, it's formatted differently, so this makes more sense. But I want to have a section here called Girls Talking About Guns, where we mansplain about how the girls are doing it. Remember, girls have been shooting guns for weeks now, like weeks. They know all about it. They know where the trigger is and everything. And most of their channels are like, some of them are boring, but most of them are better than dude channels because dude channels don't care and girls channels look better. So this is one that I'm still not totally up on. I don't think it's a scam, but man, it's a good channel. Then you got Night Strikes Grandma's not doing good. So, you want to think about her and him. Let him say you care about him. He's just building gun tube after all. He's not doing his show or nothing. He's taking care of grandma. All right, so then we get live chats this week. Included, well, Locked and Loaded. Technically, they weren't live, but I'm still going to subscribe to their channel. Evidently, dude got sick yelling and screaming while they were on vacation. And instead of doing a live show, they just decided to default to streaming or rebroadcasting the only stream of the Florida Carry event that we talked about earlier. So I guess they invited a whole bunch of people down to Florida to speak to a room of people, and no one filmed it, except for Locked and Loaded Latinos, who filmed it and then streamed it almost immediately so that everybody could watch the first half of it on Sunday. And then the second half of it, they quirked me and Clover and posted it right when we were doing our thing. But you can watch the first and second half. So the first half is a bunch of stuff, talking and blah, blah, blah. The second half, I didn't see all of it because it was happening while I was live. You know, it was being live instead of watching it. But it was the concealed carry fashion show. That's a pretty important thing because it's been going around for a while, and it's changing stuff. So, well, we'll keep going. 2013 is when that started. You can watch this and see what it looks like after 12 years, no, 7 years, 8 years, 8, 9, 10 years, almost 9 years. You know what the hell, I can do math good. Next up, a regular gun guy. I've been enjoying his chats. Usually he's just going live every night. So he's copying off of people that go live every night. And he's got the ambition and the fortitude to do it. And he does his chat interesting. He doesn't bring a bunch of people on. He just enjoys having people chat with him through the live internet thingy. And yeah, I'm a nerd, so I enjoy watching people enjoy the internet. And if they're talking about guns, it's a bonus. Unfortunately, they're all old, you know, they're new. So they're talking about boring gun stuff. But I still enjoy checking that out in the evenings, and you might enjoy it too. So there's a link to it. Then we got Crump, who's right over here. Boom. I see your article today. I never look at articles. Are you talking about on AmmoLand? I'm vaguely aware of AmmoLand, but I don't look at anything except for YouTube and Instagram for the most part. And I'm weaning myself off the socials. But Crump is a bloggist and an interviewist and an articleist. And I guess he wrote an article today, but he writes articles all the time. Anyway, he made a video over here with some dude who's running for Congress here in Arizona. I don't know where Arizona District 7 is. Look, you don't have to do nothing. You can just highlight it and jam it up there. And these modern browsers will figure it all out for you. So if we go to images, is it going to show? Oh, Arizona. Oh, it's Phoenix. Here in Arizona, we pronounce this Phoenix. But yeah, District 7 is where Cheryl Todd and Dan Todd are, and a whole bunch of other people, but not me. So anyway, that guy's running for Congress. When I started watching that about the middle, and they were asking about the 9th Amendment, and he's like, to be honest, I don't know what that one is. And I just, that's right when I got there. And I thought that Crump had just asked the guy what the 2nd Amendment was. And I was like, oh man, what the heck? But they were asking what the 9th Amendment was. Anyway, you can click on that. Oh, appreciate the finger. Thank you. Then we get to Clover Attack. This dude does shows all the time because he's desperate for views. So on Monday, I was willing to be on his show. I like to help out the little channels. I don't know what we talked about anymore. It was on Monday. Thursday, he was talking about Tulsa and how a bunch of people who go to Tulsa cut their teeth in the industry and be in media, right? Actual media, not influence garbage paid for media, but instead prosumer, is that called? Like an pro amateur. So, you know, professional amateurs who go to the show because of genuine interest and they're able to take the show, people from the show, the stuff that they're selling, the show itself, and put it online in the context of pro-gun and pro-2A. So, you know, changing things in a big way. And Clover's a big part of that. He did it all. So, and he keeps it going. So they're on board for doing it again this year, kind of doing a pre-show warm-up, getting people aware of it. Because unlike a lot of people who are like, oh, I figured something out. Gimme. And I'm holding my hands like if I'm clutching onto my thing that I possess. Now, Clover's the other way. And if you're not some kind of flake loser, he's going to let you participate and encourage you to jump on board and be part of it and learn and share and grow and be part of that that thing that's happening at the world's largest gun show. Of course, it hasn't been on for a year, so it'll be pretty awesome to go back and see what it's like in lots of ways, to see what it's like to see a bunch of gun people getting together. I got to see a taste of that, a little glimmer of that, a glimpse of it when the largest gun show besides Wanamaker on this side of the country is the SAR show, the Small Arms Review Show, happens in December. I got to go up to that one last December, December 20. And it was shitty. It was outside and it was like weird. And it was just a bunch of tents scattered around. And it was a weird ammo shortage, desperate, bunch of weird people showing up, the ammo addiction, right? 9mm people leaving their shells all over the place. And it was shitty. It wasn't a gun show. It was the only thing interesting about it was that it was different than a regular gun show. And I was able to experience it, but I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It was shitty. They're having one right now, in fact, in California, and it's, guess what? The weather's shitty. So now they're doing all that with rain. They're ruining their stuff. No one's going to show up. It's going to be a colossal waste of time and money. Can they not do it? Why? Why would you not do it? It's a freaking gun show. You've got to do it no matter what, right? And they have to keep doing it in California, because if you don't show interest in doing it in California, the venues and the assholes that influence those venues will suggest that it's not necessary or that it's not required or that there's no interest in it. So it's a catch-22. It's not a catch-22 in a shitty way. It's kind of a catch-22 in a cool way. I wish I had the resources to hang out over there, because even if it is a shitty gun show, it's a gun show, right? Anyhow, world's largest gun show is going to be happening for the first time, since like 3 cycles. It happens twice a year typically. So both shows last year were canceled. So it's like its 3rd cycle. That means people either aren't going to, I've heard some suggestion that some people won't show up as vendors. I've heard suggestions that, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be like. Like I said, I know what the December one was like here in Arizona, and it was shitty because they were complying and it was shitty. And they're not going to do that in Tulsa. It's the opposite. They're going to be back to normal. And I could see that being an amazing celebration, not just our Second Amendment, but in gathering and our First Amendment, right, to assemble, right, and free speech and the press. How awesome would it be to be a Second Amendment advocate / content creator at that event? Amazing. So I'm envious of the people that get to go appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to what they're able to bring us. Hopefully they're not just going to look at gadgets and gizmos, which anybody could look at any year, but instead they look at the show itself and the atmosphere and the emotion of the show and the feelings and maybe some interviews or some insight into the pulse of the show. I could give a shit about the stuff that's for sale. I'm interested in how that show and its evolution is in the community. I mean, in a big way, that's a pulse. It's not the pulse, but it's a pulse of our firearms community, right in the center of the country geographically. That happens twice a year for decades. So it happens on a continual basis, and it brings together quite a slice of people. Not everybody for certain, and not a complete cross section, but a pretty big slice. It's not a specific show. It's a big all around show. So it'll be interesting, really interested to see what kind of coverage we get from that one. I know what I would do if I was there, but I'm not getting to that one this year. Let's see. Then Clover had a live conversation with Ghost talking about this cruise Grassley bullshit. So, hey, if you can't infringe, why not concede, right? Why not, what's the damn word? Why not, why can't I think of the word? Anyway, this is some act of, it's a dang word with a C in it that I can't think of. Anyway, I hate this law. I don't like this guy for bringing it up, and not Clover, but this Cruz guy in Astley, bringing up some anti-gun shit. So basically it's like, oh, if they're going to throw a bunch of stuff at us, let's, the same way that a bunch of assholes are going to exploit the situations, right? The situation that's created not by the asshole murderer, but instead by the political asshole, exploitists, right? Who are going to take advantage of the victims and the emotions, right? What's the difference with somebody down here who's making up a freaking knee-jerk law to appease, right? What's the damn word? Nobody's even watching this anymore. I can't think of the word. Who cares? So anyway, bullshit. They were talking about it for an hour. I missed it. I'm glad I did because it sounds like I'd have just been pissed. I did see a summary of it though, and F you, Cruz, you asshole. Next up, work on a project that will be. Oh, okay. So I was working on some writing shotgun with Charlie stuff that is a video and is in the pipeline. I think I've got 50 videos in the pipeline right now. They're all bullshit crap, but this is a medium-sized thing. It's a little bit better than bullshit crap. And it'll happen. I don't even know when. I don't keep track of when videos are posting. But anyway, I made a note to let everybody know that, hey, I got a thing with Ryan Shotgun with Charlie. He doesn't know about it. I'm just doing it, and he's involved. Let's see. Walt, he's probably not out there. I don't know if what's his job is now, if he's still not on the internet or what. But I don't know. He did some sort of weird video the other day. I don't know if anybody, back when this was a live show, we would probably had a conversation about what the hell's going on with Walt? What's Clover saying here? No, really knee jerk. They're pulling out the same crap they tried before a couple of times. Oh, no, you're right. The fix and X is what it is. But the way that before the dust even settled, while it was still like the bullshit first like wave of assumption and finger pointing, instead of waiting a second, right, and doing all these new, better strategies we've got, his first thing is to compromise. There's a fucking word I've been thinking about. His first thing is, let me grab my bill with my name on it, and let me compromise the shit out of this. I'll be the hero for compromising. I'm going to be the compromise hero. F that guy. Hey, we got this crap sitting around. Maybe it's a good time to bring it out. Yeah, I get you. I think we're on the same track. I don't really hate the guy. I just don't like the idea that he's willing to bring out that compromise flapjack and flop it down before anybody's even decided what they want to eat for breakfast. That's the best analogy you're going to get today. Let's see. I was writing shotgun with Charlie. Oh, that was Walt. So again, I don't know what's going on with Walt. I think he needs a hug. Now we got Foss. He may or may not be out here. Yeah, it's too early for him. He likes to show up really late for these shows. So something happened, and I posted a video to talk about what happened, right? So I don't know if it's 3D chess so much as it's compromise. It's bullshit compromise, kind of. It's not a bad law. I mean, it's just saying if you're doing something and you're an a-hole and you're violent, fine, then make the law apply. However, it is not the answer. It is simply an answer. And I can understand it as a tool on a chessboard, like a knight or something. It's not the only tool and it's not the best tool. It's just a tool and it has some functions, but and it can be useful. But most of the time, it's just not the most important tool. So I could see it as a piece in front of a chessboard. But no, I don't think this is that big a thing. Like, I don't think it's the queen, or I don't think it's a rook or any of the more important pieces. I just think that, like Clover said, this guy was like, oh, you know what? I can compromise the shit out of this and win. And maybe in some weird version of the universe, right? That would have worked great. But in this version of the universe, he's an idiot. He looks like a dumbass. And he's doing other stuff. He's he's stepping on their feet at the border, I believe. Like, because he's on my radar now, I happen to see that he's yelling about the border. So, and the whole BS about what's his face saying, hey, everybody show up here. And then being like, oh, wait, hey, I didn't mean that. Wait, hold on, wait. Right. So he's shining light on that, which politically, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about the political part, but the part where he was like, hey, let's compromise the shit. Let me throw out a compromise sandwich real quick. He can keep his compromise sandwich. All right. So then we got to Foss. So he goes live every other week. So this will be his week. So if you're on the Foss cycle, this is the week to Foss. It'll be in the middle of the night tomorrow, which means the morning on Sunday, which means if you watch Gizzard Gary, wake up way earlier, watch Foss, go back to, well, here's what I do. I wake up and watch Foss, eat something, go back to sleep, wake up and watch Gizzard, and eat something, and it's like having an extra Sunday. It's like having an extra Sunday breakfast in there. And it's no calories because FOS and Gizzard together have no calories. So FYI, little trick you can play on Sundays. Let's see. Also, I sent some stuff to FOS. Some stuff happened. There's video evidence of it. Everybody's lawyers have rectified it. It's over. We had to put it here for legal reasons. The Patreon swap meet this week. The only person to say anything about it was Barbecue. He's usually too busy corking me. He's not even showing up to this show ever. I guess he can have it, even though he's not here to actually legally take possession of it. But nobody else has said they wanted it, so I guess it's his. Started reading the Neil Knox book, The Gun Rights War. This is the only one I've ever had actual express permission to read. So I don't feel as good reading this one. It's not Rogue or, I like usually calling it Rogue. But anyway, it's easier to read. He doesn't use a bunch of big words. And it's pretty interesting. The one that was about the end of the gun shows, I thought it was going to be about something else, and it was about the 1968 Gun Control Act. I suspect it's going to be tough to read it only because I'm going to want to nerd out. I'm going to learn a lot of stuff from Neil's stories because he was writing at the time about stuff that when I read articles about these things as history, they don't bother with any of the important details like did it happen like in March or in April, right? Like those little details get lost in history, and I'm going to find a lot of those, and that's going to help me with my to a history project for sure. So it'll be probably one of those things where it's like a quagmire of getting stuck into details here and there, but in a good way, hopefully. I got to drink some of them. So difficult to talk for 27 minutes straight. You're welcome. Let's see. There was a mic drop this week with Holly McKay, who's an author and a reporter, and she's seen a bunch of the atrocities and whatnot. Middle East, it's always interesting, not just to hear about firsthand of all the stuff that's happened in other countries, and with the mic drop podcast, it's almost always wartime stuff or war ravaged places kind of thing. People dealing with violence or the aftermath or leading up to it or whatever. But as a reporter, as a female reporter, it's also interesting. They get access, girls get access to places that men will never get. And of course, they have different situations that to deal with that men will never have to deal with, so or don't have to deal with in the same way, for damn sure. So super interesting listening to those. There's about 3, 4 now of the mic drop podcasts that are girls that are just holy moly. It's like you want to have a daughter or some girl listen to it, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I never want to hear you. Hopefully, they never have to hear that stuff. So, super, super, super strong chicks. Holly isn't, she's awesome, but she isn't. There's some interviews in it that'll knock your freaking socks off. Mic drops are awesome. There's 69 of them. I can only think of like maybe 5 that aren't that good, that are kind of boring. But man, they're almost all better than the next. And that's not even true because some of the first ones are awesome too. I really like the first ones because I like the first sound intro music way better than the new intro music. And then finally, Smith & Wesson is a company that makes guns. If you are listening to this podcast, you probably understand what guns are. And one of the guns that was first made with a bored through cylinder using an actual cartridge made by Smith & Wesson, who earlier made the Volcanic, those guys. They did some kind of virtual crap because SHOT Show was too lazy to do a SHOT Show this year. And this is a version. I think I did link straight to the history portion of this 20-minute video. It's interesting, but in a way, it's kind of like SHOT Show. You go to SHOT Show and you think everything's going to be awesome, and then you go to some booth of some company you think is so awesome, and then you find out they're actually really lame. And that's kind of what this is like. But whatever, they got a lot to deal with. So even though they're not as geeked out on history as I am, they address their history and they know their history. A lot of companies don't even pay attention to it. All right, with that, we're done. So each week we wrap up the week with the actual 2A and not the garbage led around by the puppet strings bullshit news. You can definitely waste your time doing that, or you can be part of the evolution of the conversation and pay attention to the people that are doing stuff, the people that are having the conversations that move us forward. I'll be working on projects that illuminate that different ways. Thanks to the people that showed up and watched it live. If you want to leave comments, people that are watching it later, check it out. See you. Have a good weekend.